my name is Aksik, aka Annika, and welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about all my completed coloring pages and WIP-s in Mythographic, Mythogoria, and also Kerby Rosanes books, of which I don't have very many, but I would really like to work in them more. Anyways, let's start with whatever stays here on our desk first. So this is one of my first mythographic books, one of the first ones that came out after they did away with the hidden objects, which was the reason that I just refused to get them, because I think I tried to get one. I had a look at it and decided they were not for me. I detested those stupid hidden or not so hidden objects. But, once they were gone, I really loved the imagery. So I started working with them and, buying them a bit more. Now I have a slight addiction to them, although I don't, work with them as often as I should, because usually they take me loads of time. So I work loads in one book and then I kind of have a month or two of rest before I, go into them again, because they really, do take a lot of bandwidth from my coloring. This one now is, I think, pretty much the only page in this book that I have finished. I don't think it was for me, the aquatic or sea theme, very successful, at least at the time. I'm a bit more confident about doing water now, but I was not back then, so I wasn't really, I was looking at it and I was admiring it, I wasn't working in it. And this mermaid is most of this page is based with felt tip pens and some alcohol markers, and then it's colored with chroma flow, shading with chroma flow pencils. And then there's, Morandi pens, kind of gel pens to kind of take away the black outlines, which in this page I felt that, it would look better if I did that. And some metallic or kind of metallic watercolors. I think they're called Unicorn. It's a little artist set from Etsy that was called Unicorn, and they're really pretty. And then there's a little bit of Posca pen as well, and that's about it. I consider it one of my more successful pages, although, it's in the book that I don't feel very confident about, but, I think it worked out well. So, hooray to me. I have now put a Daniel Smith watercolor ground down on this page, just to kind of see and try how the watercolors work in it, because those, at that time, some years ago, a couple of years ago, those books, mythographic books, didn't take water well at all. Now the last year or so they have changed the paper and it's much better now. They take water much better now. But I'm gonna see if I'm going to be able to do anything in that one. This one is A Magical Earth by Joseph Katzenbang. Beautiful book that I think was my first Joseph Katzenbang book, and I was kind of lost in it. In his, like, at the time, his art style seemed so kind of a detailed and tiny for me, and it's like, what am I going to do with that grass, or that kind of a texture here, how am I going to work with it? I am now getting a bit more confident, and kind of my know-how and my kind of experience is letting me to kind of just wing those things better, or just change the texture if I don't like it here. But back then I was kind of still thinking, oh, I have to do exactly the way the author has put them on them, and kind of color around objects and emphasize every little detail. I've gotten a bit more kind of gung-ho about this one now. I do what I like with the page. It's my book. It's my decisions. And this is now an example. I tried to do this page with watercolor. This is one of the earlier, although no hidden objects, but still one of the earlier. um, mythographic books, and the water just destroyed the paper. It was, I thought I had to pretty much, you know, my only option would just pull out the page altogether and forget about it. I don't know if I lift it like this, I don't know if you can see how badly it was warped and damaged. Not anymore because it's been sitting on the shelf for a long time, but this is what it looked like from the back. Everything sunk through. The surface had essentially holes in it, or, you know, kind of like big, you know, washed away pieces. So what I did is that I pulled out my gouache, and I did pretty much the whole thing with gouache. You know, the sky, the stones, the Easter Island, those leaves, and then some things that I was, you know, that had watercolor underneath, but I still was able to, kind of, paper wasn't damaged badly enough. You know, this one I did with pencils because I was able to get there with pencils and still work on the surface on pencils. And the grass I did with pencils as well. But, you know, everything else is gouache here, and I think a little bit of Posca pen here in the sky to do the stars. So I was kind of a like project thing, you know, can I save this page? And I was ready to, you know, kind of abandon it at any moment if it would get too bad. But I think it actually came out cool, you know. So you obviously can, but because it was such a traumatic experience, I haven't worked in this book yet since, and I really should, because it's a beautiful book. Like I love pretty much most of this stuff here. Well, not most. I'd say about 40% of pages are lovely. Like I like this one, this old abandoned train car, and girls sitting in it. I love this one. A lot of people have done this one, so I kind of feel almost like I will accidentally copy someone if I do this page. I love this one. You know, there's loads of pages there that I could do and really enjoy, but, you know, I'll get to it. Oh, I love this one. I have it marked as well, as you can see here, that I would like to do that. Fairy Wonderland. This one is now, I think this paper already is, you know, the better paper. And it kind of, I really felt it as I was working here. So there's, I think, 2 pages here, which, you know, to me is actually a good result in these books. But this is one of my favorite pages ever. I did it in the beginning of last year when it was the year of the wood dragon, and it was like perfect image, you know, it's literally a wood dragon. So just like, okay, can't get any better than that. And somehow all the, you know, the palette, absolutely everything came together perfectly. I'm pretty sure I used Pablo pencils here. I see if I have marked. No, I don't have anything written down here. But it looks like, the palette to me looks like Pablo, or possibly Chroma Flow. I can get similar kind of a palette as well for this, the clouds. There's Morandi pens here. The background, this was pretty sure water-based marker, and then I did kind of a like patch shading, you know, kind of random bits of it. I darkened random bits of it to have this slightly kind of a more interesting and magical background. And then I added loads of sparklies to it, and it came out pretty lovely. So yeah, really I love this page. Well, I love this image. So I guess the best pages always come out when you really like the, you know, initial line art. This one was based with watercolors. I remember that. That's why I'm saying that this book, watercolors are now behaving way better, because you can see now, you know, there's nothing has come through. And I did paste that page with watercolors, so there's a definite change in paper. And definitely this paper is way better for both pencils and watercolors. So I based everything with kind of this kind of almost unified wash, you know, on the background, the front, and darkened it here, and you know, gave it this glow effect. And you know, because I really love foxes, then you know, of course I had to do the foxes. Then I went over it with pencils, and I do not remember which pencils, but I have a funny feeling that it might have been Chroma Flows. Something about this says Derwent to me, you know, this color palette. I really like this page also. And I don't think I have any other pages done in this book. It's another lovely book that I would love to work on more. Like, I love this page. This rock fairy or rock creature with the winged kitten. It's just adorable. I'd love to do that. So that's it in that one. Next one has quite a lot of pages for me anyway. This is Mythographic Cosmic Spirit. This one is by Fabiana Attanasio. And I love her art. Well, her and Joseph Kattingbank would be, of course, my favorites. I'm kind of basic like that. But I genuinely love their stuff. So this one now is the background I did with acrylic paints, and there was more clouds here that went kind of up here, but I felt it was too much and it took away from the Harlequin. So this page is the Fool. It's basically tarot card, Great Arcana. So I painted some of the clouds up and left some at the bottom, and I based the clouds with water-based markers and then worked over them with pencils. And most of the pencil work is, most of it is like kind of based with water-based markers and then went over with pencils. So pencils are Pablo's. I remember that because I really enjoyed how Pablo's worked on this paper. They are like fantastic, blended so well, gave such lovely combinations. And I'm super happy with that page. One of the kind of my favorite pages of mine also. It's like really, really nice. Nice work, I find. So this one is my typical thing. I threw some color on the page randomly. This one is The Magician. And once again, I think the background is acrylic alcohol marker here. Actually, you know, kind of, I can see that I've blended alcohol markers here to get lighter in these areas. And the rest of it is also water-based markers and pencils. So a little bit of water-based markers, very pale tone, and then pencils on top. And then a lot of shiny metallic paint in those swirls. I think, you know, so far metallic paint is the best way for me to deal with those swirls, but I find that to make it really nice, or you know, kind of better looking, I blend different metallic colors into each other, so it would look more interesting. And here you can see it's chipped off. I used some sort of a cheap Chinese, I think it's CSY, it's sold on Amazon, metallic paints, and they look lovely at first, but they kind of chip off. You can see here. I don't know if you can. So I wouldn't suggest buying them, to be honest. It was a huge disappointment of mine. You know, I got them and they were really pretty at first, and then it just all fell off. So I have this sleeve on them to protect it, maybe rubbing against the other page, but you know, I don't know how that is going to work for me. Another one that I really like, one of my pages. The background is actually, funnily, it's acrylic metallic marker that usually you can't really get over it with pencils very well, but I just put it in the background and then, you know, kind of went over it in some kind of a like corner, or you know, kind of more shady areas to give it more interest, so it wouldn't be flat. and I think it really improved and made the background interesting. And then once again, pretty sure it was Pablo pencils. No, I don't have it written down here, but I'm pretty confident it was Pablo pencils in their skin and in their dress. And then I went over the dress and everything, the fabrics, with folk art, kind of like glitter medium, extreme glitter, I think. And I've made it really pretty looking. And yeah, it's kind of stiff, you know, there's so much different media on this page, but it looks lovely, and I like the results. I should really spray it to maybe, you know, kind of protect it. Yeah, and then of course metallic watercolor, as you can see here, for different swirls. I want to do this one soon. This is the Empress, also Tarot, also Pablo pencils. Here I have a lot of base done with alcohol marker, and then there's Pablo pencils on top. On the skin there wasn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't put any base on the skin. I just did it with pencils, pure pencils. And it came out, and loads of, here I have gel pens as well, and, you know, different kind of metallic markers. Or kind of, oh, they're these Spectrum Noir, what are they called? Metallic paint markers. And they're really shiny. Kind of, they really have this shiny metal look to them. So I used those here in the flower centers. But there's also metallic watercolor here in the writing. So this is one of the pages. Gosh, this book has a lot of them, you know, for, as I said, for me, because I usually don't have my books very full. I wish I had, you know, more time, but here's Hierophant, and also alcohol markers, and pretty sure it was either Pablo's or Chroma Flows on top. Not sure now which ones, to be honest. Suspect they were something softer like Chroma Flows. And those flowers, the gradients and them, kind of like pastel gradients, are done with Brutfuder macaron pencils. There's no, you know, kind of darker stuff here, just kind of soft pastel gradient, which I thought looked really nice in there. And then the same story is here in the fabric that is around the kind of Anubis type of a character. Also a lot of it is Brutfuder macarons. And then of course there's metallic. This one seems to be gel pens mostly, not metallic watercolor. It's kind of gel pens and glitter markers. Do I have anything else here? I'm pretty sure I do. Okay, The Lovers. Another one. I think it might have been my first page in this book, and I used pure watercolor now in the back, and you can see how well the paper took it. You know, the new mythographic books, I know that there's this kind of myth that mythographic books don't like watercolor, and it's true for the ones that were published before, kind of 1.5 years ago. That paper didn't like, but the newer paper takes watercolor pretty well. I'm not saying it doesn't buckle at all, but, you know, I was able to blend watercolor here. The watercolor itself didn't go through. What has gone through here is the alcohol marker, you know, in the areas I used it, because, you know, some areas are obviously done with alcohol marker. But the rest of it is all either, you know, water-based markers or watercolor. I don't think actually water-based markers were here. It's watercolor, and you know, the figures and the turtles were done with were done with alcohol markers and pencils on top. And I think they were Pablo's again. Do I have it? Oh, actually it says polychromos and luminance. So, and then there's glaze pen, Sakura glaze pen, and the swirlies, or whatever you call them, movement lines here, are all metallic watercolor. Okay, all right, and the Chariot. Once again, there's a combination of alcohol markers. The blend at the back here is alcohol markers, and pretty sure most of the kind of the machinery and the kind of the chariot is also based with alcohol marker, and then gone over with pretty sure it was Pablo and Portfuna macaroon pencils. And then there's different gel pens, you know, to cover the lines, and Posca markers. And this one, I don't think has any metallic watercolor, but it does have glitter gel pen though, here at the top. And I'm pretty sure I had at least one more page here. Yeah, and that's the Hermit, that I really like. It, you know, wasn't like super popular as a page, but I really like this one. This one also has, the background is alcohol markers, just blended direct on the paper. There's nothing on top of them, no pencils or anything. And then I don't remember if I put any, yeah, there's alcohol markers, kind of a blend, quick kind of a blend on the Hermit as well, and everything else here. And then I went on top of it with pencils. Don't ask me what pencils, but it looks to me like Chroma Flows and Prismacolor, definitely white here, because I've used that to blend things out. And I like the way that I managed to do the kind of very subtle reflection on his robes of the light, and that the lanterns have kind of slightly different color lights, you know, they reflect. Just really happy with that page, and really enjoyed doing it. So I think that's, for time being, all here, but I will definitely work more in this book. I really like this book. I like the themes of this book, and I enjoy working in that. So Kerby book, I just happened to come out of the pile next. This is the only Kerby book I have properly worked and finished something. I do have a couple of more of his books, but I haven't really done much in them. For some reason, I have this wild fear of Kerby. I actually, no, I have worked on it. I have finished a couple of pages, and I know that he's actually easy to color. But for some reason, starting his pages and not getting somewhere, it feels that everything is already done, and I, you know, almost always I'm copying somebody with something, you know, which, you know, I would like to come up with something myself. So I just need to get over it and start working on it. This I have put acrylic base onto the deer and the antlers here, and I remember that I wanted to do this deer kind of pinkish white and kind of like silver antlers, and everything else around it kind of very dark, and you're now going to have the glow in the water, which I should have put more pink into the water as well. I kind of left, you know, that was my mistake when I was painting the deer in. But, you know, didn't finish it because I think somebody else doing it very, very similar. It's like, oh. And I left it to be for a while. I want to do this page, the Baba Yaga page. I think it's very cool. It's fantastic paper. It, you know, takes everything so well. It's like, why, like, I really like, you know, that spread, everything of it, although I would like to probably paint out all those tiny itsy bitsy teeny weeny flowers. I probably put some sort of a different background behind her, kind of maybe starting from here and leaving the clocks from here, but all that greenery, kind of foliage would probably be gone, because I think it takes away, it just, you know, if there wasn't that much the fiddly bits behind them, they would come more forward and kind of stand out more. so I don't think I'm going to leave it there. And you know, this is also lovely. So it's 100% my themes, and you know what I love in that book, you know, and I really should work here more. I put some acrylic base here. That's just kind of a diluted base, you know, acrylic base diluted wash, but I haven't really gotten anywhere with it. Kind of got stuck in my head again how I'm going to finish it. This one, most of it is all based. It's just, you know, go in with pencils, but I need to change things in the sky. I got things wrong with the sky because I have this kind of a like magenta-ish kind of cold pink, and then I have this muted purple or violet sea, and then I have sky that doesn't really work with either one of these colors. So the sky has to be more ultramarine or kind of a warmer blue, and I need to change it before, you know, this page will look in any way cohesive. This one also fully based, you know, need to go in with pencils to finish it off. Pencils and other media. Okay, this is the spread I have done. And this is the Sphinx, obviously. And at the time I thought, you know, I was doing, you know, kind of, for me anyway, interesting things. I was putting kind of different colors in the wings of the Sphinx, and now I kind of look, and it kind of looks, you know, flat and uninteresting, this page. It's like not happy with it anymore. I was very happy when I finished it, and now I'm not. You know, the clouds have, you know, interesting subtle colors in them, and I was super happy when I finished it. And now it's like, yeah, there was so many more different and more interesting things I could have done with it. Now I could have done it more dark, or, you know, more shadows, or, but, you know, it is what it is. And I think that's Mama Wata. Yeah, African sea goddess. And I actually like her. I still think she came out all right. She's colorful and cheerful and happy. Don't ask me what pencils I used here. I genuinely don't remember, but it might have been possibly polychromos. And something else as well, because this one is done with softer pencils. You know, I can see that patterned cloth here. But yeah, I just don't remember. And there's definitely, like, the waves are done with diluted white acrylic paint to give them this kind of a fluffiness or flowiness. But yeah, that's about it. And do I have anything else here? Even, you know, oh yeah, I do. I know that I have based at least one more image. If I can find it now. Image that, you know, was, yeah, I based this one as well. And this is done with ink pads, pretty much. With the brush tool, I kind of worked kind of a lot of shading already into it. And I went over the lines because I didn't care. I was, you know, always going to be doing the background with acrylic. So I didn't care if I was going over. So I need to put the background in and give it a last little bit of pencil. It doesn't even need that much pencil because I got some shading in already with ink pads. But just need to get to it. It's, you know, it's getting there already. All right, and then one of my like my only page in Mythographic books is in Alessandra Fusi's Undead Academy, and it's this page. And what happened here was, firstly, the page in Mythographic books, I presume because they sell less and, you know, aren't as popular, they print them on much worse paper than they do in Mythographic books. It's much thinner. It doesn't take, you know, most of the media that I cheerfully now use in Mythographic books. So it can be a bit of a challenge. But I based this page with kind of a like thin layer of gouache, and I was sorry for it because the pencil didn't really go very well on gouache. I had to really work hard, you know, to get all these shadings on the walls, and you know, the kind of the coats or whatever, or capes were also based with gouache, and I was struggling to, you know, get pencils on top of it. But, you know, I it worked out, but you know, my hand was sore afterwards, so I had to really press on it to get, you know, some sort of a color and you know, smoothness out of it. And then there was some sort of a weird filigree antennae-ish thing there, which didn't have any purpose and just looked weird. So we just painted it out with acrylic marker, and that was it. And yeah, that's it. There's not much I can say about this page. I do like this book a lot, except Alessandra Fusi has this habit of putting in absolutely ridiculously small details that you really, I don't really know what media you would need to use to actually be able to color them. This one is based with diluted watercolor, so hopefully eventually I'll get to it. It's a cool page. Yeah, there's so many beautiful pages, but on pretty much every page that I look, oh, I'd love to do that, I see some really tiny, you know, itsy bitsy, like look at the crown, for example. You know, the detail in it is kind of ridiculous. Like, I not really genuinely don't know how to color it. I just don't know. Well, this one maybe, you know, I'm sure I can find, you know. I do love most of the artwork here, and it looks, the book is like a story. It really feels, you know, like it's talking about this Undead Academy and different characters who study there or live there. You know, it's a really cool book, so I will definitely work here because it really suits me and, you know, kind of my taste. But yeah, every page is probably going to be a bit of a challenge because of the tiny details. And this one is another Kerby book that isn't with me for long, and I need to get to it, and I got it mainly because it's a Marabout edition, and the paper is just unreal. It's fantastic. So I want to work here with watercolors and I tested them quickly. I haven't finished the page or anything, but I kind of put some watercolor down just to see how it goes down here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. On these little creatures, and then of course I dragged my sleeve through them when it was still wet, so that went well. But you know, I put some darker background, it doesn't really matter. But it went down really well, and it blends here and it moves here, so I will definitely be able to work with watercolor on these ones, and you know, I would really enjoy doing that. So definitely something I will work in. And then there's Aviary, which was, I think, in February. Elm Colors, Erica and Elm Colors, you know, she has this year a mythographic, and the February book was Aviary. And, you know, she loves that book. I really like that book as well. I like birds. I have like loads of feeders, bird feeders in the backyard. So, you know, I really like the theme of this book. And I went for it, of course, cheerfully, you know, that since she was working in Aviary in February, I really pressed on and tried to finish some pages here, which I did quite happily. This is about the bases I put on just randomly. This is going to be finished in future sometime. I don't know when. Another one, just a random background. I tend to do that. You know, when I work the book, I kind of start putting different things into different places and then decide if I go on with that page at the moment or not. I start by putting color on into random places often, and then moving on from there. I don't go in with a very defined plan. I like to work more spontaneously. This one is done with watercolor pencils, the background. And they're watercolor pencils that I got real cheap on Amazon. I don't know if they're still there. It's a 24 set. They are Nevskaya Palitra or White Knights. White Knights watercolor pencils. This is a 24 set. I think they have 48 set possibly as well, which was much more expensive. But I just wanted to try them. And they are quite nice. You know, I was able to get loads of pigment out of them and very easily. So I made this kind of a like splotchy textured background and worked into it with white ink, kind of diluted white ink to kind of make more contrast and kind of more kind of a glowy bits in the background. And then there was alcohol markers. All the image was basically based with alcohol markers, you know, everything essentially was based with alcohol markers. And then I worked over them with polychromos, which surprisingly, for some reason, I did not love on this paper. Maybe it was something about alcohol, I don't know. Usually I like polychromos pretty much everywhere, but on this particular image, in this particular book, I was struggling with them. But you know, can't win it all, so. And then there's loads of little, you know, Posca dots, and I think there's felt tip pens here as well for some basing. Basically, yeah, it was loads of different. I think the skin, or the face skin came out cool. I kind of wanted to look interesting and kind of unearthly a bit, and I think came out just as I wanted. Then there's next one in here. You saw all those pages quite recently in one of my completed. This one is the owl page that I really love because of the muted palette. I think it came out really cool. Background is Artex acrylic markers. The rest of it is all paste with Inktense and then shaded with Black Widow pencils and Arteza Expert pencils as well. It depends, like, you know, certain areas like the wood and the pages were done with Arteza Expert, but I think the owl, you know, all those kind of bluish grayish tones were for Black Widow. And these tones here as well. So some of it, and some Brushful Macaron as well. Those Brushful Macaron pencils, which are fantastic and cheap and blend with pretty much everything. They are great. And yeah, then there's loads of white gel pen, of course, you know, to kind of deal with the kind of little glitter bits here. And there's tiny bit of metallic or kind of glitter gel pen. That's it. And oh, let me put that one back on so I wouldn't lose it. I hate when they. Okay, and this one is my wonderful parrot page, which for some reason wants to get stuck to this folder. Yeah, that one really loved how I did the background. It was kind of an experiment. I had here 3 tones of alcohol marker, and then I went in with cheap Brutfuner, not old Brutfuner pencils. They don't have capped ends, you know, the cheapest of the cheap. They came in this plastic kind of like suitcase thing with snaps. And I did 3 colors of Brutfuner pencil here to create this kind of effect that there's you know, bushes and branches, you know, like exposed against the light behind the parrot. So I think it came out really different and cool. You know, all of this area is basically, it's just black pencil on top of alcohol marker really, but black pencil applied very softly, and because it's a hard pencil, it goes down very evenly and softly, so it doesn't leave, you know, too much paper texture visible. So it was really easy to do. It went fast, and you know, it was enjoyable result. And the rest of the image was all based on alcohol markers, and then done all of it with Arteza Expert pencils. And then there's some glitter acrylic pens, acrylic markers here in the, you know, hearts of the flowers. If you can maybe see how it glistens a bit. Yeah, it's a good page. I pretty much liked every single page that came out in this book. You know, I didn't have with any of them this moment that, oh, you know, this one didn't go well. Oh, and this one is an old, is there anything else here? Yeah, this is a typical example of me putting down random color when I, you know, have something mixed up. So I obviously had some, you know, acrylic wash left, and I just tossed it here in the eggshells because it looked like eggshell color. And this one was the first page I did here, and that was a couple of years ago, maybe a year, when it came out first. And that one is, the background is acrylic paint, and then I think it's alcohol markers, and what I can see here, it looks like Pablo pencils on top, and then some Posca marker kind of little dots, and that's it. A very simple page. Oh, sorry, forgot about this one. Almost would have closed the book. Yeah, this background is carrot watercolor pencils, diluted with water, obviously. The bird is also based with carrot watercolor pencils. Pretty much everything is based with carrot pencils. And then Pablo pencils on top, because as I said, I like Pablo pencils in these books, especially on the new paper now. That's the thing. Newer paper likes Pablo pencils. Older paper, not that much. It's kind of, you kind of need to know, you know, what type of a paper you have in the book. And then there's some Randy gel pens and some acrylic glitter markers. You can see the shininess. So yeah, loads of different stuff. Once again, my typical page, which has loads of different media on it. And I've started to color antlers. I think it was one of the pages I was kind of contemplating on doing when I was working on this book in the whole February. So I need to now see what book Erica has for March 2025. Maybe I have this book and I can, you know, work in this again. And this now is my last mythographic book, and also possibly one of my favorite books altogether, but definitely one of my favorite mythographics. Sorry, I'll have a drink. My mouth got very, very dry. This is Joseph Kattenbang's Wild Summer, and I pretty much love every single image in this book. It's like Joseph Kattenbang sat down and, you know, just was decided to draw all the images that would appeal to me personally. I just think it's very, very good. They're storied, they're interesting, they're fun, you know, some of them are funny. All of them, you can kind of see, you know, picture a scene. You know, there's, because they're not kind of like, there's maybe a couple, but most of the mythographics have kind of quite a lot of those kind of filler pages, which have very typical themes, or just kind of a lot of, you know, symbols and a lot of kind of clutter thrown into the page. These ones all are stories, and, you know, they all tell you something, you know, leave some sort of emotion. This one is based with water-based markers, but based the way that you scribble them onto the palette. In my case, I have this big, huge cutting board. I bought 2 of them. They came in a pack of 2, and they look like this. They're kind of a, you know, cloudy, transparent, but, you know, it's big, so I can really scribble a lot of different colors down and kind of keep picking them up from there. And I find it really nice to work with from there. So I like kind of big surface. It's always kind of next to me, you know, as a cover of the table. But, you know, when I work with water-based markers, I just work off that surface a lot. If I, you know, kind of pick them up that way. And I like the color variations that I put down here, kind of, you know, different colors in the water. I love how that came out, you know, that the surface of the water is reflecting more sky, you know, kind of like, and the underwater is more reflecting, you know, the algae and kind of the greenish undertones that the river water, because I kind of think it's a river. It looks like a river to me. River water would have those greenish undertones. So yeah, love that. And the donuts came out nice. So yeah, it was a fun page to do. And I think there's a little bit of that, the same kind of this metallic Spectrum Noir, metallic paint marker, and silver. I'm pretty sure it was what I used here to kind of outline those quite unidentifiable swirlies in the sky. Maybe it's supposed to be a wind. I was like, okay, I'm going to do them grayish blue and outline them in silver. It'll go well with the page. You know, sometimes, yeah, those swirlies are kind of unnecessary. They, you know, didn't really have to be there. But it's still cool. Another cool page, like every single page. This one is cool, I want to do it. Or even, you know, okay, it's turtle with something on its back, but I even want to do that. Usually those pages I kind of irritate me, because it seems that every other mythographic book has one. These ones, absolutely amazing. Would love to do it. This one, would love to do it. This one, actually this one I'm not that keen on, but you know, it's all right. Like, it's still a nice page. It's just not calling to me. This one, oh, the bees, cute. This one, I have started to base it, the flamingos. I think it's, yeah, it's the water-based marker again, I think. Or it might be just regular watercolor. This book takes water pretty well. You know, as long as you don't put big floods down. This one is just, you know, some water-based markers in her hair. It's just, you know, randomly applied, a little bit shading already put in. Nothing else, but another page that I would love to do. It's like so many pages that just, you know, are calling to me. This is the background, pretty sure is acrylic markers. And then it's based, a lot of it is based with felty pens, but you know, the same way I scribbled them down and applied them with water brush. And then I went over them with, pretty sure it's Pablo pencils, because those grays, the pinkish grays, look like Pablo and possibly some luminance, you know, those tones. They're really, some really pretty grays. And you know, the same way, you know, how I really love how the watermelons came out. They came out very kind of a, you know, fairly realistic looking. And I love how the reflections came out in the water. You know, that everything is throwing a bit of a color into the water. This one is just, you know, I just had some water-based marker left over next to me, and I tossed those colors down here. So, you know, when I start this page, something is down already. And those are fairly neutral. They will pretty much go with most, you know, whatever color scheme I decide to go for. I have started this page. And one of the ones I definitely will want to do, the little boy and dog dozing in the armchair and dreaming of their wild adventures. I think it's lovely. This one is, once again, background is Simtap marker, just, you know, one marker drawn down. Then there's some sequins. I don't even know. I found sequins. It's basically like using found stuff. I found those kind of a holographic little sequins. So I just stuck them all over the background, just as a little extra detail, and they look cool. And once again, it's all based with water-based markers. In this book, for some reason, I think I was using that technique a lot. So yeah, everything is based on water-based markers and then worked over with Colleen pencils. It says here, yeah. This one is, the background is done with acrylic gouache. Not wash, but no, gouache. So it's done with gouache. The background, all the kind of a dark, the darkness of the space background. It's all kind of a blended on the page, yeah, the gouache. And then the rest of the image, kind of the otters and the astronaut, are based with the same way with the felt tip pens, kind of a, from the picked up from the palette with the water brush, and then black widow pencils for shading, and some, of course, some Morandi gel pens to outline all those space swirlies, whatever they are. Yeah, and then Posca white. So I think that might be my last page. No, actually, no, there's one more page. Do I have anything else here started? I don't think so. Yeah, and this one, When Pigs Fly. Pigs Fly page. This also came out fun. I had this picture in my head of this happy town with this parade every day. And I made it in really, really happy, kind of a bright, vibrant colors. The pig came out really good. The color of the pig, I think, is actually very realistic, you know. How pigs, the actual color of them, a little bit exaggerated, but quite close. And it's done with Artex pencils. Well, the pencil work here. There's a lot of, there's acrylic gouache in the background. And those clouds and the sky are done with actual acrylic gouache. So it's kind of like permanent. And tiny bit of, like I tried to put a little bit of Brutfuner macaron pencils to kind of emphasize, you know, and add some colors to the clouds. Most of the colors were there already, but I did put a little bit of Brutfuner macaron pencils in there. And yeah, this is also like based with, it looks like I've basted diluted acrylic gouache and then put some pencils on top. And these ones seem to be based with felt tip pens, possibly, and then pencils on top. But yeah, those balloons were quite a bit of work, but they came out really lovely and shiny and fun looking. So yeah, that's the last page for today. I hope it didn't get too boring or too long. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more of my videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe so YouTube keeps offering them to you. I hope you're having a good day or morning or evening, whatever the time is in your corner of the world. And bye-bye.